This is Georgina Saville. After giving birth to her newborn baby, she decided to falsify the baby's DNA test and lie on the birth certificate. Now, why would she do that, you might ask? This was her very spiteful attempt to stop the father, Kyle Fitton, from seeing their baby. Actually babies, as this was their second child. She knew that the loving dad would stop at nothing to see his children, and she decided to weaponize that against him. This led to a court case that takes some shocking turns, and the final result was very controversial, as many people are not happy with how it played out. Let's get into it. You see, Georgina Saville was a 25-year-old psychology graduate. Her and her ex-partner, Kyle Fitton, had been in a 4-year relationship in which they conceived their second child. And at this time, Georgina texted Kyle saying she was pregnant with his baby. However, as the relationship started to deteriorate, they stopped speaking to each other directly, and Kyle's mother acted as the mediator between them. Georgina texted his mother one day saying she had enough, and she planned to claim that Kyle was not the father of his newborn baby. Now, the couple had their first child in March of 2019, and this second one was born in January of 2022, which is after the couple had separated. Georgina was now claiming that only their first daughter was his, and that the second was not. She said this second child was her new boyfriend's baby, but Kyle Fitton did not believe her. He says, from day one, he knew in his heart that this baby was his daughter. But sadly, Georgina wouldn't even let him meet the baby, and on top of that, she stopped letting him see his oldest daughter as well by texting his mother saying, "I'm sorry, I just need to make sure the girls are treated fairly as if they are full-blood sisters. He can't be present in one of their lives but not in the others. It's not fair for one to have a dad and the other not to. Therefore, the only way it's fair is if Kyle is completely gone." I want to know your thoughts here. Do you think she is sincerely trying to do what is fair and best for the kids? Or is she trying to manipulate the situation and torture a loving father? Let me know in the comments and hit that subscribe button if you want to support the channel. Either way, he made it very clear he wanted to be the father figure for both of them, so he was heartbroken from being separated from his children, and she never let him meet the newborn baby, even for the first time. In February of 2022, it was revealed that Georgina left the father section blank on the birth certificate at the registry office. However, she posted photos of the two girls and her new boyfriend, Danny Mellows, online, as if they were a family. She even encouraged the older daughter to call the new boyfriend Daddy. Kyle Fitton said, hearing his older daughter refer to Georgina's new boyfriend that way left him in pieces. On top of that, Georgina applied for a non-molestation order, which is essentially a restraining order against Kyle. In response to not being allowed to see his daughter, Kyle Fitton filed legal action to have access to his children and to have his name added to the birth certificate. This was a very tolling process for Mr. Fitton, both emotionally and financially, and it goes to show just how much this man would go through for his children. Kyle's lawyer had requested that Georgina have a DNA test carried out, but she still claimed that Kyle was not the dad and sent over a fake DNA test that wrote her new boyfriend, Danny, as the father. Thankfully, it did not end there. In July of 2022, a DNA test was ordered at the family court, and it came back proving that Kyle was the father. Georgina then admitted that she had lied and falsified the previous test result, but she was not happy about this. So, she went back to the registry office and falsely amended the birth certificate to show her new boyfriend, Mr. Mellows, as the father, which they both signed. She even threatened Kyle by saying she would remove Kyle's name from the older daughter's birth certificate and texted him saying he would never see his children again. This led to a 4-day trial where Mr. Fitton's lawyer opened saying, "It's plain, she knew perfectly well Kyle Fitton was in fact the father. She provided a document which she knew to misrepresent the child's paternity. She sought to mislead him and his lawyer, and if taken at face value, that test results could have deterred him from pursuing the proceedings any further." We say this was a spiteful and calculated attempt to derail his case by dishonest means. What she did was misleading because she made a positive assertion saying Danny was the father. Her defense lawyer argued that she had panicked and made an ill-informed decision by submitting the false DNA test results. Regardless, the court understood that she went to a registry office to list her boyfriend as the father on the birth certificate, which they both signed, despite knowing that it was a lie. In September of 2024, Saville was convicted of perverting the course of justice and willfully making a false declaration about a birth and was to be sentenced in November. This is where it gets crazy. Knowing that she would likely face jail time, she became 6 weeks pregnant at the time of sentencing in November. This means she willfully decided to get pregnant right after she was found guilty. Here's what the judge had to say. It seems to me that you were fully aware that the false test would be used in court proceedings, and the intention here was to manipulate the proper course of justice within the family courts. He said Georgina was fueled by revenge and had a background of hostility which did not lower her culpability. Mr. Fitton was kept from his children and they were kept from him, and that went on for some time. Saville's attorney tried to argue that the mother's pregnancy presents a number of challenges for her in a custodial setting. There's always an exception when it comes to the law, and I submit this is an exceptional case where a suspended sentence should be imposed, she said. A suspended sentence would mean that she would be spared from going to jail. However, the judge rejected the plea, saying, "You are pregnant, but it's quite clear that you became pregnant knowing that you were facing a sentence for this matter and knowing that the court had warned you that custody was very much on the cards," he said. The court also heard that Saville has not seen her other children in almost a year, and that was through her own choice. She then hung her head as the judge delivered her verdict. She was sentenced to 32 months in jail by Judge Peter Henry. Now, I wish the story ended there, but she was released from prison after appealing her sentence. It had been reduced to 12 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years. Here's what Kyle Fitton had to say. "I'm so angry. When my mother told me, I couldn't take it in. I was in complete shock. Where is the justice for what she has put me and my family through? Her actions nearly destroyed me, both emotionally and financially. That woman tried to take my daughter away from me in the cruelest of ways. I wouldn't put anything past Georgina now that she's out." The devastated father continued, "I knew she had appealed her sentence, but I didn't expect her to be released so soon. My mother was told, but not given any reason for why Georgina was allowed out, so we were not even told which prison she was in." As you heard, Kyle Fitton was very upset because a suspended sentence meant that Georgina would not have to spend much time in jail at all. In fact, she was released just 3 months into her 32-month sentence. There were no tags or conditions given to her, so she can just pick up her life like nothing happened. Kyle Fitton wasn't the only one who was upset by this. Here are some of the responses to the story. "I would like to say I'm shocked, but I'm not. This is another example of how our legal system favors women. This was a spiteful and deliberate act, and she knew very well what she was doing. She was rightly jailed, and it doesn't even constitute a slap on the wrist. It's no deterrent whatsoever, and she should have had the children taken away from her." As far as we know, there weren't any restrictions placed on her in regards to the kids, and it does seem quite backwards. Although at the time of sentencing, she voluntarily did not see the kids for about a year, so she may not even want to see them either way. Another says, "When will women realize you control your body and conception? Don't bring a child into this world just to punish or control your ex. Children deserve much better from parents." This got a couple of responses as well. "I think the real father should have custody of his children and not a lying mother." Of course he should, but with our secretive, bent, two-tier legal system, they won't let it happen. This raises a really interesting point. Is it a two-tier legal system? One that discriminates against males and is corrupt against fathers? This story takes place in the UK, and this definitely seems like an unjust legal system to me. What do you think? And is it a bent or unjust system where you live? Let us know below. Francis says, "There are many others, sadly. Dads being punished by loveless, spiteful, selfish mothers. This was a vicious, nasty thing to do with consequences to an innocent man and child. It's mental cruelty on a huge scale and deserves at least 5 years. What exactly must women do to be jailed? Despicable piece of work. Apart from harming the father, she was also attempting to harm the children by deceiving them. Alright, so what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments, and if you found value in this video, please do subscribe and like to help support the channel, and check out our latest video up on the screen. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.